Here I am by the pyramids again. The day has come that I am leaving Egypt. I have been here for 2 months now, and I can't even describe how much I have loved being here. I can't believe I'm leaving. It doesn't even seem real. I don't even know what to say. I want to say how much I've loved being here in Egypt. I don't really feel like talking about it right now. Hi guys, today this is going to be a video that I felt like it was really important for me to make and that I have had on my mind for a little while. When I told people that I was going to be traveling all around Egypt for 1 month alone, a lot of them were very concerned, and they told me how unsafe Egypt was and that terrible things would happen to me there. They told me that women should not travel to Egypt, and they certainly shouldn't travel there alone. They told me that if I did have to go, I should try not to ever leave my hotel except on a tour. They told me not to speak to or trust anyone. There was just one problem though. None of these people had ever actually been to Egypt. The worst thing that happened to me in Egypt was that I had to leave. A really popular question that people have been asking me lately would be, is Egypt safe? I do have to say that sadly, bad things do happen anywhere and everywhere in the world. Las Vegas, London, these places are not really locations that if you told your friends you're going there, that they would be giving you all of these warnings and telling you that you shouldn't travel there, don't travel there as a woman. And yet bad things do happen. When there is something that happens in Egypt, it does get a ton of negative attention just because it is Egypt. And this happens with other countries too. It's kind of misproportionate in what the media portrays. This really is not a political video at all, or I don't know, anything against media or anything like that. But I do just want to say that no one is making news stories about how Carol and John go to Egypt and have an amazing trip. We never hear the good news, we only hear the bad news. Sadly, terrible things are happening all around us in the world today. These things should not keep you from living your life and from exploring and enjoying just how amazing this world is, because you really never know what is going to happen. This is all within reason. Obviously, there are parts of the world that are very unstable and unsafe at the moment, but I personally do not feel like Egypt falls into that category. Of course, I can only share my own experiences. I am talking about what I felt and saw for myself in Egypt. I was there for 2 months, and I was traveling by myself, solo female traveler. I am like 100 pounds and 5'5", and I never felt unsafe. Really, I'm trying to think of a time that I felt unsafe. Did you ever feel unsafe? Then the answer would be no. I went all over Egypt, took night trains, overnight buses, walked alone at night, downtown areas, quiet areas. I just felt safe. I don't know if there's really so many examples to give you, because I can only give you examples of what didn't happen. A lot of you guys ask about being a female traveler in Egypt, and especially being a solo female traveler. How can that be safe? What was it like? I will say that when I went to Egypt, especially when I first got there, for some reason, there was a lot of catcalling. They should not catcall you. It is really not good of them to do, and I don't want to underplay that, but they are essentially harmless. All they're gonna do is use words. You just ignore them, just keep on walking. Now guys, lately I have been seeing some comments on videos that aren't even about this, but I have been seeing some comments lately that I would consider slurs, I guess. I know that the comments section can get kind of crazy sometimes, and I don't get to read all of my comments, but I have been seeing some that basically say that the culture of the Middle East in general is a culture that assaults women. And whenever I see this, it really upsets me. This is a problem. It is a terrible thing for a person to do. And it is by no means unique to a certain country or region or religion or race. That is simply ridiculous. There are a lot of these things that sadly happen in the US, and I think, like most, if not almost all women, I have had these things happen to me. And sadly, it's something in our world today that still happens to women. I have had to deal with these things before. Being followed, being made to feel very uncomfortable, very unsafe, being more than that. It's happened. And yet, all of these instances happened to me in the US. None in Egypt. None in other places that I've visited that people told me were dangerous, or that every woman that goes there, oh, it's a culture where they disrespect women. It's a culture where they assault women. No. People assault people. It's not Arabs assault foreigners, or foreigners do this, or Egypt does. It's people. People all over the world have the power to choose to do the right thing or the wrong thing. And everywhere in the world, there are going to be people that choose to do more of the wrong thing or more of the right thing. And that's human nature, and it is not any more pronounced in Egypt than it is in any country. In coming to Egypt, a lot of people told me not to speak to anyone, not to trust anyone, and they would always say, especially men, don't engage them in conversation, don't trust them, do not speak to any man, just as little contact with Egyptian men as possible. It's just extremely over the top. I made a ton of friends while I was in Egypt, men and women, and it was fine. If I got a bad feeling from anyone, even if I didn't really know what it was, then I would just not talk to them. It's just the same as anywhere else in the world. There's a good chance that if a man is approaching a girl that he does maybe want to ask her out, but it's really not, doesn't make him a monster. I think that the reason that people say this about the Egyptian people is, number one, the catcalling. It's probably gonna happen, and it's annoying, but just try and move on and walk away. The number two reason that I think people might have this idea and say, oh, you can't trust anyone, is that there is going to be a lot of hassling you going on in Egypt, and people just basically trying to get you to buy their things, some more aggressive than others. Again, this is not dangerous. This happens anywhere. There are people that are going to be haggling you in New York City on the streets of Manhattan. If you don't want to buy the things, then just move on. That kind of brings me to another point, maybe why people would say, oh, don't trust anyone in Egypt, is because there are some scams going on in Egypt. And I feel like I keep saying this, disclaimer everywhere in this video, but guys, there's scammers everywhere in the world. Everywhere you're gonna go, get into a taxi and, oh yeah, meter, yeah, it's on, yeah, don't worry. You get there, the meter's been turned off. Well, you said meter, oh, it's broken now. 50 to ride the camel. You ride the camel. You get off the camel, give him 50 Egyptian pounds. No, 50 US. Obviously, the price of a camel is not $50 US. And you know that, and he knows that. But this is a scam. Long story short, there are things you have to watch out for, and there are a lot of people in Egypt that are trying to hustle you for money, and sometimes in dishonest ways. So these things do happen, and I just wanted to give you guys a few examples, and I don't know, just use your common sense. But I wouldn't say that any of these things make Egypt unsafe. Oh, the taxi tried to overcharge me. Wow, that happens everywhere. Actually, one of my favorite parts about Egypt was the people. They are just so welcoming and friendly and hospitable, and I just made so many friends in Egypt, and it was amazing. To all of you guys that sent me messages and emails saying, if you have any problems at all, call this number, call my mom's number. People that I don't even know. And that's just from you guys, and I want to thank you guys, my Egyptian subscribers in particular, because wow, you guys are amazing. All of the messages giving me tips about where to go, call my mom, have dinner with my mom, just saying nothing other than welcome to Egypt. You are a big part of why I love your beautiful country, and I just want to say such a big thank you to you guys, and it really meant something to me. So guys, that is the video today, and I hope that it answered this question that just seems to be revolving around everywhere lately. Is Egypt safe? If I missed anything, then just let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna try to be really active in the comments on these kind of like talking advice videos. Yeah, I hope that this helps. I am sorry that it's kind of a clickbait title there. Sorry, but I do feel like it was an important video for me to make, and it was one that pretty early on traveling in Egypt, I had this idea that I really wanted to say something about this because as I said, I was nervous to go because of all of these things that I'd heard, and pretty early on, by the time I got a sense of the country, I was just wondering, like, where does this even come from? People have such misinformation and such a distorted sense of this beautiful, beautiful country and these amazing, friendly people. And it was just something that I really wanted to talk about. Hope that you enjoyed, you found it helpful or interesting. Let me know any thoughts down in the comments, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.